All right, the meeting has been called to order. Is there any additions to the agenda? Councillor Sobel.
I have nothing, Your Worship.
Councillor Blockman.
I have nothing, Your Worship.
Councillor Fuel.
I have nothing, Your Worship.
Councillor Peterson.
I have nothing, Your Worship.
Alphabet.
Nothing, Your Worship.
Perfect. Entertain a motion to adopt the agenda as presented.
So moved.
Councillor Sobel's moved. Motion on the floor. All those in favor? The motion is carried. On to number 4, previous minutes. 4.1, adoption of the November 19th, 2014 regular council meeting.
I would move adoption of the minutes of November 19th, 2014. Your Worship.
Perfect. Councillor Peterson has moved. Any questions? Hearing none. All those in favor? Motion is carried. Under delegations, 5.1, Ms. Bailey Simon. Simonin. Just to let the delegations know that we currently have a policy in place that allows them to speak for up to 10 minutes. Okay. Good evening.
Good evening. How are you guys?
Thanks.
My name is Bailey Simonin. I am 21 years old. I was born and raised in Strathmore, and I am currently a contestant in the Miss Universe Canada pageant. The pageant takes place in Toronto in the springtime of 2015, and it's about a 2-week event. I am currently looking for sponsorship. I've been to different local businesses and companies. I'm looking for sponsorship to help me with my journey to getting to Toronto and just helping pay for expenses and all the training that I need. I have been involved in the modeling industry for the last 1.5 years with the Patty Faulkner agency in Calgary. And for the last 1.5 years, it's kind of taken off and it's kind of worked its way into the pageantry now. And I believe this will give me a good opportunity to represent Strathmore, as well as being a good role model for young women and children and young ladies across Canada. It also gives me a great opportunity to represent Alberta. So I'm just looking for a little bit of help. And I also just wanted to let you guys know what I was up to as far as representing Strathmore and being from this town for my whole life and being able to represent you guys in Toronto.
Thank you. Questions
so
from
much.
council?
I have a
Councillor
question
Peterson?
to the chair. We have a policy for this right now. Am I correct? Is this okay? With regards to for the policy committee, didn't we have something?
Donation policy.
regarding
Donations policy.
So it's different than this?
It would be the same.
Yes. So this does fall under that. I'm sorry, Bailey. Council just instituted a policy just very recently on governing donations, and so we're just needing a second.
Okay, yeah.
Well, while we're
Yeah,
waiting
go
for
ahead,
that,
Councillor.
Your Worship, I do have a question. I just note that you're planning to hold some charity events. Is there anything that you're able to tell us about those?
Yes. So in the new year, they are going to be letting us know what charity is assigned to us as far as
Okay.
the different girls that are going. We all have a charity assigned to us. I believe some of them are like Operation Smile, SOS Children's Villages. And then what our duty is, once we are assigned a charity, then we are supposed to put on a charity fundraiser and raising awareness for that charity. So I do plan to host something in Strathmore as well as Calgary as well.
Thank you. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I was just going to ask, was an application to that policy made out?
Sorry, Your Worship, the letter received by Ms. Simonin, would be considered a written application. Yes.
Thank you.
Councillor Peterson?
I admire what you're doing. I think it's worthwhile, and I appreciate the sponsorship, and I'm prepared to make a motion that the town of Strathmore offer you $500 in your endeavors,
Thank you very
and
much.
wish you the very, very best, and hope
you.
that you'll come back and represent us in
For sure.
many different ways.
Thank you very much. And I do have sorry to interrupt you. I do have an official transcript as well as the program from last year that I can leave you guys here and you can take a peek at it as well. Gives a little bit more information and then you can look at some pictures and stuff as well.
Have you approached the Strathmore Lions Club?
I emailed someone yesterday about it, but I haven't gotten a reply back, but I am wanting to get in contact with the Lions Club.
I'll follow up on that. I'm a Lions member, so I will.
Perfect. Thank you.
Perfect. Motion is before council to approve $500 to Ms. Simon. All those in favor? Motion is carried. Thank you very
Thank you
much.
very much, you guys.
Worship, if I could, I just want to wish you luck and make sure you say our name lots out there.
Sure.
And make sure that you come and talk to our administration and get lots of pins and Strathmore
For sure. I will do
swag
that.
to take with you.
Sounds good.
Councillor Fuel?
Your worship, just following that point, I'm wondering if we could invite Bailey back sometime when it's all over and you could just give us a little brief update on how it
That'd be
went
great.
and
For sure. I
what
would
your
like to do that.
experiences were.
Yeah, I will do
Thanks.
that. I'd love to.
Thanks very
Right.
much.
Thank you very much,
Thank you.
guys.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Our next delegation, 5.2, the Canadian Badlands.
Thank you, Your Worship, councillors,
Even.
administrators. I want to thank you for making time for us tonight. We're here in direct response to news that we received that you were considering not renewing your membership with Canadian Badlands and wanted to address that directly. We have a very short time, so I hope you'll forgive me if I'll speak very frankly and to the point. And such a short time that we really can't go through all the many benefits that your community can gain from association with Canadian Badlands. And but I want to reiterate our vision, and that is to elevate southeastern Alberta to the point of being an iconic tourism destination, for it to stand alongside the Canadian Rockies. And this is a realistic vision, and we're seeing more interest all the time from international and national visitors in the many tourism assets of this region. And we believe Strathmore is a key community in this 62 municipal partnership. So first of all, I want to say that a very tangible example of that is that we now have, this is brand new this year, 2 busing companies that will be bringing visitors to both Drumheller and Dinosaur Provincial Park and coming right through Strathmore. I want to say I really respect that the job you do is difficult. I realize that you have limited budgets and you have many priorities. As elected officials, you have responsibilities to do what's best for your community and for the people who elected you, not only for a single fiscal year, but for the long-term well-being of the community as well. And the people who elect people in your position deserve to have leaders who can identify opportunities for economic growth and who can envision their community being more than it is in the present. These people rely on you for that vision for your community's future and to protect your community's reputation in the present. I realize I've been negligent in introducing who's with me. This is Barry Morishita. He is Vice President of Canadian Badlands and a councillor with the City of Brooks. Since we found out about your decision, many people in your community have stepped forward to show support for continued relationship with Canadian Badlands and Strathmore. I've also had conversations with, and some of those people are here tonight to show their support. I've had high-level conversations with people from Travel Alberta, Alberta Culture and Tourism, and other municipal leaders, all expressing their real desire to have Strathmore continue to be a partner collaborating in these tourism initiatives. They express the importance of participating in collaborative initiatives like Canadian Badlands and the important role tourism plays in local economies. People like Brett Wilson would no doubt agree, and he is a great supporter of both this community and of Canadian Badlands initiative. And as we see the price of oil plummet, and at the same time, tourism revenues continually climb, we know that diversifying our economies in rural Alberta is more important now than ever. In 2011, this region attracted 4.2 million people, spending $522 million, generating $250 million in tax revenues for municipalities and the government of Alberta. There's no question that tourism is one of the key growth areas for rural economic development. Cindy Amos, the former ED, and I'm sure many of you know that she recently passed away. And it's with respect that I refer to her passion about Strathmore's inclusion in Canadian Badlands and she correctly identified as the gateway to the Badlands. There's no denying that Strathmore's geographic position means it already benefits from tourism. And I won't lie to you, you could end your affiliation with Canadian Badlands tomorrow and you'd continue to sell gas to people driving through your community. And you'd continue to probably sell a few meals, maybe even a few hotel stays. But in a town that has limited resources for economic development and may not have a clear direction to work in a plan for tourism, the possible extent of the benefits that you'll garner from Canadian Badlands are bring amazing value. Canadian Badlands is exactly what you need to leverage the limited resources you have to put towards your tourism growth. A single event with the proper development and marketing can put a community on the tourism map. I refer to Vulcan, Rosebud, Big Valley, all small communities that arguably years ago you could say had nothing special about them. But they found their niche and they carved it out. Your Running with the Bulls event might be just such a thing that could put you on the map. It's an experience that we're all familiar with, that many of us would love to do. I mean, a lot of people would love to just watch probably, but I'd like to do it. And it's exciting. And it will appeal to people in Calgary. People will pay to do this. I would pay to do this. It taps into the cowboy culture, which we underestimate. It has a lot more tourist appeal than we realize. Canadian Badlands has done a lot of things for small communities. We've helped establish destination marketing organizations right in the community. These are your tourism champions getting together in the community and can be very successful. In the case of Brooks, which is doing amazing things, and we've helped establish one in Drumheller and in Medicine Hat recently. We can facilitate the start of collecting DMF funds. This is destination marketing fees, which sit at the bottom of a hotel bill. It's collected locally. Generally, it's 3%. And this is these little charges that we never notice as when we stay at a hotel. But basically, the people that are already visiting your community and already staying here start to fund your marketing. And as they fund your marketing, you bring more people in. And as more people come in, that fund grows. And that fund that it comes from those hotel stays can be doubled as you work with Travel Alberta through us and market your local tourism attractions. So these are a few concrete examples where we can come directly in and help you. As you probably know, Canadian Badlands was planning to hold a conference here March 25th to the 27th in 2015, which will attract around 250 delegates from across Alberta. I want to let you know the direct impact, the direct economic impact of that conference for this upcoming calendar year. 250 delegates. Stats Canada puts the average spending for this type of travel at $217 per person. That's $163,000 coming into your community in March of 2015. 300 hotel room nights. And we've already set aside hotel nights with Travel Lodge and the Days Inn. We'd be hiring caterers. We'd be looking at local entertainment. We'd be doing facility rentals at your own facilities, and we'd be having a pre-event at one of your restaurants. These are the tangible results, and intangible: exposure for your town, your facilities and your features, relationship building with other communities that can help, a rallying point to launch some excitement in your community about tourism. And I know you've got some great tourism champions here already. Harnessing that energy is really one of the big keys. Now, this part's a little awkward, but you must understand that we can only hold our conference in a shareholder community. The direct and indirect benefits of this conference have to come to a community that is a member and is supporting us. So I'm going to ask if there's a decision to be made about this, if that decision can be expedited, and you can inform us right away, because we've already begun planning in cooperation with Tracy for this conference. And fortunately, we haven't advertised it yet, but should your decision be to withdraw from membership, then we'll need the time to alter our plans. I'm probably at time, aren't I?
Getting very close.
Okay, appreciate that. I'll wrap up.
Thank you.
We believe the direct immediate economic benefits for this conference alone should justify your renewal. A $6,500 project that garnered $163,000 worth of benefit to your community would be considered a win in any circles. On top of that, the fact we can help you establish a DMF that will provide sustainable ongoing funding to your destination marketing. And of course, we hope you'll also consider the cost of lost opportunities should you withdraw. In this time, in this age, none of us can achieve our goals without working together. So it's in the spirit of collaboration that we sincerely hope that you'll continue to work with Canadian Badlands, tourism, and the tourism industry, both public and private, and the other communities in Southern Alberta. We're very open to conversations with you or your tourism champions or your staff to find out tangible ways that we can help Strathmore. And I know that that not all those have been achieved in the past. I've been in this job now 3 months, but I am very eager to make a course correction with your great community. So again, thank you for your time, and we're all stronger together, and I hope we can continue to act that way.
Thank you. Councillor Peterson?
Thank you, Your Worship. My question is one relevant to how the advertising and promotions are developed. So, and I don't have much of an understanding about that. So, does the development of attractions within the community, are they generated by the community to Canadian Badlands, or does Canadian Badlands take responsibility for seeking those out?
It's a very good question. And I think there's examples where it's happened both ways. For example, we just worked with Stettler to create a new pheasant festival there. And that was an idea that sort of was generated by members of Canadian Badlands and sought out communities that were interested where it was a good match. In other cases, it's been a champion or an idea that comes from the community that we've helped to develop. And what we can do is analyze its feasibility, and if we think that there's a market for it, and we can give good advice, and we can help develop that product. So it can happen either way in terms of tourism development.
Thank you. And then subsequent to that, I've never spoken in favor of or against our membership in Canadian Badlands because I was largely ignorant about what was happening, and the councillors that sit at this table have more experience than I do. But prior to this meeting, I went online to see what the Canadian Badlands had to offer for Strathmore. And I was horrified when I went on and typed in Strathmore under the attractions, and Arrowwood and Vulcan and Bassano Dam and Blackfoot Crossing came up. So then I went to the section under the website that says Western Ways, because surely there would be something there, and there was not. And our name doesn't appear on the sign. So at this point, I don't know whether that's our responsibility and that in some way we haven't carried out what we needed to do, or whether it's your responsibility, or whether it's a collaborative deficit. And so I think right now there is a collaborative deficit. You mentioned at the beginning, and there's a partnership deficit. So I'm certain I have an open mind into the future, and certainly I have questions as to why we're non-existent.
I'd like to speak directly to that. I know the issue of the signage has been a bit of a bugbear with people. My understanding of the history of that is that at the time when those signage was produced, Strathmore was not a member. And so the name, the community is on the sign, but what it is, it's in a gray font versus a black font. So that's the deficit. So I want to look into a correction of that that would be feasible. Right now, to replace those signs, there's 14 across Alberta, and the single panel would be more than $1,000 to replace. So it would be a massive hit to our budget to redo all of those. But I'd like to look into an economic solution to correct that. In terms of the web, and I've had somebody else tell me the same thing, I believe we may have some problems going on with our search engine within the application, within our website itself, because I searched Strathmore Canadian Badlands today. I got 10,500 hits of websites that referred both to Strathmore and the Canadian Badlands together.
Right.
And the top 6 were were from the Canadian Badlands website.
Except when you go into your website, it's non-existent.
And this is what I'm saying. It's there, but I think whatever the search engine that's happening within the website, we've got a problem happening with that. So
Or your problem has become our complex. You understand that?
I agree. And then the third point you made is a good one, which is there is a responsibility to the community to submit the information. And I looked through the history of the relations with Strathmore, and I did find some evidence of calls for information and the information not coming in. So you can imagine it's impossible for us to find out everything about every community and populate the website with that. That said, I think we need to do a better job of facilitating that flow of information, and I think we can own that as you say, a collaborative deficit. So I'd be really strongly dedicated to making sure that information is there and searchable.
Thank you, and I appreciate your presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Fuel.
Oh, yeah, thank you, Your Worship. I guess I just wanted to take a little time out to explain why there may be some reticence on behalf of council. And it was in the past that we felt that, yes, there are a great many things that can be done for Strathmore, but we weren't able to see any tangible ones being done. And we weren't sure we were going to go in it in 2013 until I met with Cindy for lunch. And she absolutely won me over with her passion and her spirit. And I came back to council at the time and said, I really think we should push forward with this. Now, in that time, and in that lunch meeting, she actually stated that she felt the Badlands Association had dropped the ball with Strathmore and that she wasn't going to let that continue. So we agreed to go again. And then I think in the last year, we're still kind of wondering what it is exactly that has happened or that has been done concretely that would show us that we're doing well being a part of Badlands. Now, that's not to say that I disagree with joining. I still think staying as a part of the Badlands Association in the long term can be a very, very good thing for us. The conference alone is a great thing for us. But I think council here wants to see on behalf of the town and all its businesses and residents that something is going to be done to really to bring Strathmore some exposure, and so that we really feel like we're a vital part of the Badlands Association. So I still want us to see us continue, but the proof is in the pudding as far as what we're hoping for in the future. The conference alone, I mean, you made it pretty clear. I feel a little bit backed into a corner about that, but I feel like the price for us to be a part of the Badlands alone is negligible compared to what that's going to bring in for that conference. That's not to say I still need to be shown that the Badlands Association is going to really do tangible things for us, because that's what our people are hoping for.
If I could just address that a little bit. One of my roles is also I'm the product development chair for the Canadian Badlands, and one of the issues that we've gone through is how do we best serve 62 municipal members? As you can imagine, the needs are far different in various areas, and then of course the amount of effort compared to what they require in order to have a tangible benefit, however you might measure that, are quite different. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to, in product development, is either take existing product that exists in your community or product that can be moved from one community to another and bring that benefit directly. The skills that Canadian Badlands have very well developed are the ability to facilitate between the provincial government and ourselves and Travel Alberta to either help to market or to help develop product. The second thing that we're very good is that the people that work for us, our contractors, their skills are in communications and marketing and public relations, organizations, and what they also do is because they are a part of our organization, you're able to leverage that with your events. Now, that isn't to say we can do everything for you, but it is to say that in the cases of, say, as the one Brad said, your bull run, which I will never get in. just for the record. But to take that to another level, those are things that can be possible. Now, again, as you can imagine, sometimes if the communication is broken down, and I can tell you that for the last 6 months, just our structure, we've had issues obviously with Cindy being ill and a transition, but I can tell you that the focus has never been stronger from the board of directors point of view, that we know that communities, I'm a city councillor as well, my community is looking for that as well. I can tell you that we are trying to find measurable events, measurable things that we can give to those communities so as a municipal elected official, you can justify your membership directly to your ratepayer. We know that's important, and we're working on projects that will do just that in all communities.
Thank you. Councillor Sobel?
Thanks. I appreciate at the beginning of your discussion that you said you were going to be blunt, so I'm going to be very blunt too. This is the third year, and I could have a tape recorder put on and listen to the same message about what the Canadian Badlands is going to do for us. What I'm interested in is what have you done for us? And from what I can see, the answer is nothing. And that bothers me because I was in this exact same position a year ago and 2 years ago, where we had all these ideas of what we were going to do, what there's signage and all this kind of stuff, and absolutely nothing has happened. Like it gets a little frustrating. And I know you have issues, and you've had some unfortunate situations happen, but as a council, I'm looking at, do I want to partner with you guys, because whatever you said you're going to do, you haven't done. I mean, and I'm talking about nothing. I'm like Councillor Fuel. I'm going to swallow my pride, and I'm going to support another year because of the conference that's coming up. But I'm disappointed. I'll be very honest with you. I'm very disappointed in the lack of action that's taken place, and I do hope that this year is going to be different. I'm very hopeful.
I'd just like to invite you to give us very specific direction as to what you want to have happen, because that, when it comes to tourism development, it's very unique for each community, and it needs to be a solution that is grown from the grassroots of your community.
I don't agree. I think what we've been told in the past is that you folks are going to come and talk to us, and we're going to work on a plan together. And that includes putting our name on a map, putting our name on the website. These are not complicated things. We want to know that we're part of the Badlands. We've been paying dollars for this. We want to know what the result is. And that's very simple. And I don't want to rehash this. This has all been talked about again, but I want you to understand where the frustration's coming from.
Thank you, Councillor Sobel. Councillor Blackman?
Thank you, Your Worship. Through the chair. I love everything you guys said. I really do, honestly, other than the fact that we might lose this conference unless we pay up. Back in 2011, we dished out the 50 cents per capita to join the Badlands. And that was 3 odd years ago. 2012, we didn't. Last 2013, we got back into it, and we had a discussion that we might not get into it this year. Stettler being my hometown, I find it very discouraging when I drive in there and I see a Canadian Badlands sign, and we can't see one down here. Now, a sign can be just a simple sign, but to me, tourists going through Strathmore, whether they're going east or coming through going west, they see the sign and it's a symbol they recognize. And I am very sorry about what happened with Cindy. Maybe there was a communication breakdown for that year. Obviously, something happened. But I think, speaking on behalf of some of my councillors here, we are not left with a very good feeling on this council and the previous council, because I have to agree with Councillor Sobel. We haven't seen anything yet. I might have to apologize. Maybe I didn't see that sign in Stettler. Maybe it was Drum I was going through.
Oh, there's a sign in Stettler.
There's a sign in Stettler? That's what I thought.
Yeah. If I could address that.
I'm just talking about a little sign, eh? But
yeah,
you know, how come Stettler's got one and we don't have one?
If I can make the commitment on behalf of the board, and we have a board meeting in January, I will certainly bring this up point by point, and I will commit to you that Brad and maybe members of one of our committees or the board will meet specifically with you or the people you want us to meet with and talk about those things specifically. And then we'll come up with a plan that we can execute. Like I said before, I recognize that as a council, you have a responsibility to make sure you're getting something for what you pay for. And we'll be very honest with you. That's the case in other communities as well. We've got to learn. We've learned, I think, that we have a job to do there. And I think it's a little bit harder considering how things have changed over the course of the time that the Canadian Badlands has been in existence. But I can commit to you that the board, one of the mandates that we gave Brad when he was hired to be the new executive director was membership retention. And that means that specifically to deal with members' issues and with the Badlands, improve those communications so that we're not having small things become big things, because we know that's what happens. So Brad was given that specific direction by the board when he was hired. So I am committing to you on behalf of the Canadian Badlands Board that in fact will happen this calendar year.
I'll reluctantly support this along with my fellow councillors to vote in favor of membership for next year. But I'm really hoping we see something come out of this other than this conference.
Absolutely. Appreciate that perspective.
Councillor Peterson?
Thank you. And I just wanted to say that one of the things that I recognized when I was on your website is that certainly Strathmore wasn't the only one who Brooks didn't fare very well either.
No, and
it could be a site
Brad's
problem.
saying there could be a site problem. But I know, again, if you just Google Brooks and Badlands.
Yeah, of course.
you get
Yeah, I
lots
did the
of
same thing.
Yeah.
One thing that I'd like to do, Your Worship, is to ask Tracy Simpson, who you've been in contact with,
Mhm.
the potential that she sees for collaboration and continued partnership.
Under the bus.
Well, I'm sure most of you know that I'm a supporter of the Canadian Badlands. My background is in tourism, and so I would love to see tourism growth in Strathmore. That being said, I think there's lots of things that we could, we on our end could have done better. Some of the communication issues I think are definitely on our end because we don't have a tourism department or the staff to handle that communication. So I think part of it definitely was on our end. We have some big things coming up in Strathmore, the games, and potential for future growth of some of our events, including the Heritage Day or the Strathmore Santa that the Canadian Badlands could become a partner with and help grow. And one of the things, I think it was Fuel, we talked about when I first started here, was starting a music festival in town, like a blues fest or a jazz fest. And that's something I've always wanted to start. And I think the partnership with the Canadian Badlands could really help that get off the ground. That being said, we've done very little in terms of doing that on our end as well. So it's stuff that we can do in the future.
So you see capacity for your position to move into this more fully with assistance. Thank you. Thank you.
Councillor Fuel?
Yes, Your Worship, I am prepared to make a motion to stay in Badlands for another year. I just wanted to I have two things. One is to clarify where the monies would be from as far as that goes. And is this a motion that we would entertain tonight through the chair to the admin?
Okay, so need a motion.
Happy for financial stabilization.
Okay, so that would be
Budget.
that would be a part of the motion then? Okay, and my second thing is to the Badlands Association. If we approve this and the conference goes ahead on March, I'm wondering if the Badlands group could also meet and discuss with Tracy. Maybe there are ways to maximize the financial benefits of that weekend. Maybe we can plan something as a town for that same weekend to showcase the town and increase the benefits for our businesses and our residents. So if that's something that you guys can talk about too.
That fits in really nicely with plans we had to provide various itineraries for people that were coming to extend their stay, because it goes to a Friday afternoon. We thought that was perfect. So we were going to think about other locations, but of course Strathmore.
Okay, and my last question is, the cost of it is 6,500, is that what it was?
It is, right now, we're at a 50 cent per cap.
Okay,
Plus, I believe there's a 3% cost of living levy that we're applying just to.
so if I make that motion, your worship, through the chair to admin, would my motion then take into account the cost per capita? Okay, so I guess I'm prepared to make a motion. I would move that the town of Strathmore pay to stay in the Badlands Association for 2015 and pay the cost of 50 cent per capita plus the 3% COLA from financial stabilization reserves.
Can I just make one more, it was just something that Tracy said. Right now, the Canadian Badlands is developing a template for a music festival. Actually, it's a food and music festival right now, an itinerary right now. We're developing that. We're applying for a grant to get some to do the study, to put it together, to build again. And that would be something, that template where we'd have all those things maxed out. We'd be able to develop, to see what capacity you had, how big you could go, We could take out those kind of products and bring it right into Strathmore and say, okay, this is what you need to do. Can we find the people? Can we find the organizations that are willing to help support it? And we can do that there. And those are the types of things that we would be more than happy to be able to bring into your community.
It's a very good fit with your community.
Okay, thank you.
Just quick one comment. I'm prepared to support the motion this time. It's really disheartening when you're at the water park in Drumheller and you're looking at the Canadian Badlands sign and you're not seeing the town of Strathmore. That's very, very tough pill for me to swallow as a taxpayer. And it was a very tough decision to not to cut that out of our budget. But I'm really hoping that $14,000 or $1,400 or whatever it's going to cost to change those signs. I really hope that's something the board is really looking at producing, because it's very tough. I thought maybe it's a one-off, so I drove to Hazard and Standard, and no,
it's a result of the communities that aren't members when the program gets put into place. But I'm going to look for I'm a troubleshooter, so I'm going to look for a solution that we can afford. And start the process. It may not happen in 1 year. They're all over the southern Alberta, but it is important, and we really take that to heart. Thank you.
Thank you. There's a motion on the floor. Any further question or debate on the motion? Hearing none, motion on the floor to jump back into Canadian Badlands. All those in favor? The motion is carried. Thank you very much.
Worship, if I could have one more comment?
You may.
And I don't want to push this any further in anything, but when you guys are doing the review of your website, if you could check into, for instance, where to stay in Strathmore. There's of the 18 locations there, only one is in Strathmore. So
there's some linkage problems there.
Exactly. There's 17 in Brooks and Coronation and other places, but there's only one location in Strathmore. So this is the kind of stuff that we're hoping is going to be rectified. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, same here. Thanks.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, jumping into bylaws 6.1, bylaw number 14-24, Town of Strathmore fees bylaw amendment. Our municipal clerk.
Your worship, at the November 19th council meeting, council passed an amendment to the animal control bylaw to allow for emotional support animals. At this time, administration is bringing forward an amendment to the fees bylaw to allow for licensing fees for emotional support animals. You'll find the schedule attached to your council package on page 2. The fee that we are recommending is $25, which is the same fee that we charge for a dog license. We've also included a replacement for a loss tag fee and impoundment fees for emotional support animals. We are recommending all 3 readings tonight with a reminder that we need unanimous consent for a 3rd reading.
Thank you very much. Entertain a motion to move the first reading.
Your worship, I would move the council give first reading to bylaw number 14-24, fees bylaw amendment bylaw.
Perfect. Motion on the floor. There's no debate on the first motion. All those in favor? The motion is carried.
Your worship, I would move that council give second reading to bylaw number 14-24, fees bylaw amendment bylaw.
Thank you, Councillor Field. Discussion? Rocky? Discussion? Oh, go ahead. Go ahead, Councillor Blanco.
Thank you, Your Worship.
You're welcome.
I'm not so much concerned about the fee or the price of the fee. I think it's more important that the fee is in place as it registers these emotional support animals. So at least we have an exact count of how many's out here in the municipality.
Thank you. I guess my question would be to our municipal clerk: how do our fees for these emotional support animals compare to other surrounding municipalities?
Your worship, I'm sorry, we do not have that information, but I can find out if you wish.
That's fine. Thank you. Any further questions or comments on the second reading? Hearing none, call the question. All those in favor? It's carried.
Move the council give unanimous consent to a third reading of bylaw 14-24 fees bylaw amendment bylaw.
Question on the motion. All those in favor? It's carried unanimous.
And your worship, I would move that council give third and final reading to bylaw number 14-24, fees bylaw amendment bylaw.
Thank you, Councillor Field. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, call the question. All those in favor? Motion is carried. Item 6.2, our Downtown Redesign Review Committee bylaw amendment number 14-26, deferring to our Deputy CEO.
Thank you, Your Worship. Currently, the Downtown Design Review Committee bylaw number 1319 indicates that the chairman of the committee is to be the Director of Planning and Development or his or her designate. This is an error and should not have been included in the original bylaw. Administration is bringing forward an amendment bylaw to correct this error. The amendment will state that the chairman shall not be a town staff member or a member of town council. Administration is recommending all three readings of the bylaw, and again, this bylaw also requires unanimous consent. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Entertain a motion.
Your worship, I move that council give first reading to bylaw number 14-26, Downtown Design Review Committee bylaw amendment bylaw.
Perfect. Call the question. All those in favor? Motion is carried. Entertain a motion for the second reading, please.
Your Worship, I move that council give second reading to bylaw number 14-26, Downtown Design Review Committee bylaw amendment bylaw.
Perfect. Discussion on the motion. Councillor Sobel.
Just a quick comment, Your Worship. I'm on this committee, and I take pride of the fact that it's citizen driven, very heavily citizen driven, and there's a lot of interest by our constituents on this. So I think it's only fitting and proper that the board, the chair of this board, be someone not in council, and I fully support this.
Thank you, Councillor Sobel. Councillor Blanco? No? Okay, I thought I seen a finger twitch
Or
there.
unanimous consent?
Perfect. So I would entertain motion on the floor. All those in question? Question call. All those in favor, sorry. Motion is carried. Councillor Peterson, go
I
ahead.
would move that council give unanimous consent to third reading of bylaw 14-26, Downtown Design and Review Committee bylaw amendment bylaw.
Perfect. Call the question. All those in favor? Motion is carried.
And I move that council give third and final reading of bylaw 14-26, Downtown Design Review Committee bylaw amendment bylaw.
Thank you, Councillor Sobel. Discussion on the motion? Hearing none. Call the question. All those in favor? And it's carried. 6.3, the bylaw number 14 to enable the conversion of Lot 1, Block 28, Descriptive Plan 1412244 to Municipal Reserve, MR. Defer to our Director of Planning and Development. Good evening.
Thank you, Your Worship. Council is aware of the lands around Strathmore Lakes. These probably should have been transferred to the municipality many years ago when the land around the lakes was subdivided. Instead, it was left as a residual parcel. Earlier this year, we were in discussions with the developer who now wanted to transfer the storm pond and the surrounding lakes to the town. All of those lots that adjoin have survey pins, and there's a lot of survey pins. We would normally have to do this by plan of survey, which I think 30,000 is a conservative estimate. And so we hit upon the solution that if if we do this in 2 steps, if land titles will accept a descriptive plan, which they did, and then that's been transferred to the town, we then will take that descriptive plan, pass a bylaw to convert it to municipal reserve, and hopefully the registrar of the land titles office will respect that bylaw and convert the lands to municipal reserve. That's what this is all about.
Thank you very much. Entertain a motion on the first reading. Councillor Peterson?
I would move that council give first reading to bylaw number 14-23.
And again, no discussion on the first motion. All those in favor? It's carried.
Your worship, I move that council give second reading to bylaw number 14-23.
Thank you, Councillor Field. Discussion on the motion?
Oh, yes.
Councillor Sobel, go ahead.
So this land would include the pathway around the lake, would it not?
Yes, it does.
The unfinished pathway,
Yes.
which we would then be responsible for at least cleaning whichever part is finished.
We received 2 weeks ago a landscaping plan from the developer. If I can back up, back in April, we gave the developer a marked up air photo saying this is where we would like pathways. And certainly there's a pathway all around the lake. There's one connecting east, and there's one connecting, there's one connecting northeast along the storm line, and there's one connecting west. The landscaping plan did not include those pathways, so we've said please include them. And the reason is that under the Municipal Government Act, we can certainly ask for pathways. That's entirely within our right to ask, pedestrian connections to connect the subdivision to the other ones. Where we're a little weak is on asking landscaping and playground facilities and all that kind of thing. So we've said, look, the landscaping, first of all, I don't think is necessarily appropriate to our climate. And secondly, we would like to have the pathways constructed as shown on the earlier drawing. So that's where we're at with that issue.
But
now, currently, it does belong to us, and it has been transferred to us. The land has also been sold to a new, like the residual lands have been sold, and we're looking at one of 2 options on how to deal with it. We're either going to amend the deferred servicing agreement that is registered against the residual parcel, so that it includes completion of the landscaping. And I would hope that there would be I would expect that there would be some security for that. Alternatively, and this is the less preferred option, but we will simply write them a letter saying, these are the things that are outstanding. And, but I think we'll probably, because we have to register a development agreement for the latest subdivision anyway. I think we'll do a concurrent registration on the residual of a deferred servicing agreement to complete that landscaping, at least in some reasonable form, satisfactory to the town. Because the northern end of it currently is pretty disturbed, and it would have to be seeded and sodded anyway, or one or the other.
Okay, so as concerned I am about the landscaping, I'm more concerned about the pathway, which is nothing. There's nothing on the north side.
Indeed, and that's my point. We've said that.
So when you're saying landscaping, you're going landscaping / pathway, or is that included in?
The landscaping plan was very elaborate on trees and shrubs.
Yeah.
It was very incomplete with respect to pathways. We've said, look, we're entitled under the Municipal Government Act to require the pathways, and we will require them. So please build the pathways and show the pathways that we've previously indicated. And we are willing to, because some of these trees and shrubs won't grow here anyway, we're more than willing to back off on those and come to more of an accommodation, I think.
So are we losing any leverage on that regard if we pass this bylaw?
Absolutely not. No, what we've done here, I think I think this is major goodwill. I mean, if Land Title's office says you can't do it, I mean, there's a plan of survey. I mean,
major goodwill on our part?
Yeah. I mean, the alternative would have been to have dedicated the we would have, like, I guess it's goodwill, but we wouldn't have gained anything.
My goal is simply to get this path finished. That is I'm trying to figure out how we're going to get that done and whether or not we are comfortable with the fact that it's going to get done and that we can make it get done. And is this going to affect that?
No. If I can just take this back a step or two. To have created this as municipal reserve by the conventional process would have cost the developer at least $30,000. Because it should have been done a long time ago. Now you're going to have to go into all of those residential lots, reestablish those pins, and I suspect some of those pins are underneath or behind the fences in people's yards. Be very disruptive. We said we can do this by an alternative method, by descriptive plan, have the lands transferred to us, we take possession, and then we pass a bylaw making it municipal reserve. Whether we do it that way or the more costly way, we end up at the same place. In order to ensure that the pathways will be completed, we intend to register a deferred servicing agreement against the residual lands, and hopefully with some security. I get council's feeling on this. I think we can take an assertive position on this, that the pathways have to be completed.
I'm sorry, I have one last question. If we take this off, we pass this, take this off, will that trigger our staff to then be responsible for cleaning that the pathways in that area?
We are already responsible because the lands have been transferred to us by registration of the subdivision.
All right, it hasn't been done.
Sorry, what?
That's that area has not been cleaned by our staff routinely.
I understand, but it's only transferred to us in the last few weeks.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
I thought, okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Councillor Fuel.
Yes, thank you, Your Worship. A question through the chair to the thing that you mentioned, I didn't quite catch the wording. When you register security against, can you just explain that quickly again?
Part of the development agreement says is that for outstanding works, like you say that you have to install a sewer line. Depending at which stage that sewer line is at, when the development agreement is signed, there's security to be paid. Because if somebody walks away from it, then we have to have money to complete it, or we have to have money to repair it. In this particular case, as part of the development agreement, I would expect that we would take a letter of credit in some amount that's approximately equal to the value of the work that's outstanding, on the explicit understanding that at some point, if the work is done and it's inspected and it passes muster, we will return security.
Okay, the second part of that question is, does that go to the new purchaser of the lands, or does it go to the one who just sold?
We can only register it against the certificate of the title of the person that owns the land.
Okay, so that
and so we're having a meeting with them to.
Okay.
And we've warned them about this. We said, look, fortunately we have the same engineer working for both parties, and hopefully that simplifies things.
Okay, thank you.
Perfect. Nothing further. Perfect. Call the question on the second reading. All those in favor? Motion is carried. Entertain a motion for the unanimous consent.
Your Worship, I would move that council give unanimous consent to bylaw number 14-23.
Call the question. All those in favor? Unanimous carried. And entertain a motion for the third and final.
Your Worship, I move that council give third and final reading to bylaw number 14-23.
Call the question. All those in favor? Motion's carried. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
On to some new business, 8.1 credit union loans. Welcome our Director of Corporate Services. Good evening.
Good evening, Your Worship, Council.
Evening.
In the past, the town borrowed on 2 occasions from the credit union, one for the expansion of the aquatic center in 2010. And then in 2011 to purchase a parcel of land adjoining Kinsman Park. The principal balance on the loans currently is $216,000. The budget was prepared on the basis of these loans being paid out prior to the start of the 2015 calendar year. The amount of $68,355 in interest and $216,000 in principal was removed from the budget to accommodate that. We are asking that council authorize the payout of these loans from unrestricted surplus during the month of December.
Thank you, Director. Any questions or comments? And I guess my question would be just to confirm that this is surplus money. We're not borrowing to repay this money off. This is just surplus money that we've accumulated.
It's surplus money at this time, yes.
Perfect. Entertain a motion. Councillor Peterson.
I would move the council authorize the payout of the loan balances as of the date of the payout from unrestricted surplus during the month of December 2014, plus secured interest. The amount being $2,720,500.
Motion on the floor. Any debate, questions? Call the question. All those in favor? Motion is carried. 8.2, our 2015 budget, again to our Director of Corporate Services.
Good evening again. On a number of the pages in the agenda, we have the 2015 operating and capital budget. The 2015 operating budget is for a total of $28,354,000. It's anticipated that the municipal tax increase for municipal purposes will be 3.5%. If you recall, the property tax for this year for the town was less than 0.5%. Many people received an actual tax decrease on their tax bill. The Family Center, Aquatic Center, Civic Center, and Curling Rink are operating at the support of taxes by $2.2 million. We also spend on protective services $3.4 million. In the area of roads, for cleaning, snow removal, and maintenance, it's anticipated we'll spend just shy of $1.8 million. Planning and development, economic and community development, tourism, downtown overlay, the anticipated spending is $1,317,000. Parks and seasonal, $773,000. Involvement with the community through our youth center, FCSS, and a handy bus, $800,000. We have also included additional financial support for the library, an increase of $2 per capita. The municipal library will receive $206,000 to support their operations. And we'll also support the Marigold library system with $70,500. $108,000 will be directed towards Wheatland housing in support of seniors housing in Strathmore and surrounding area. We anticipate that we will be requisitioned by Alberta Education for $4,745,000, both for public and separate schools combined to that dollar amount. We receive, in the way of government grants for operations, $694,000, a very small amount. MSI is 51,000 for this year, 399,000 for policing, FCSS 241,000, and $3,000 for Canada Day. So those are the numbers for the operation side. On the capital side, we have 29 projects totaling $10,853,000. The largest dollar amount will be spent on roads for $7,576,000, 7 projects. The largest being Lakeside Boulevard and 2nd Street, which was deferred from this current year into next year, totaling $3,587,000. Also, 4th Avenue reconstruction, $2,950,000. There are 5 other road projects totaling $1,039,000. The largest water and sewer project for this year is the Brentwood Reservoir structural repairs at $1,172,000. Orchard Park trunk upgrade also at $600,000, and 7 other projects totaling $604,000. Total spending on equipment, $711,000. This includes a full-size grader for $333,000 and an ice cleaning machine for the family center of $158,000. 6 other items totaling $220,000. In the case of equipment, we provide each year an amount in the amount of depreciation to spend on equipment. Grants totaling $5,800,000 will go towards capital projects. This includes $3,700,000 from the current year, plus a carry forward of $2,100,000 from last year, being 2014. Also included is funding by borrowing $3 million from the Alberta Capital Finance Authority on a 15-year basis at 3%, and that'll be directed towards the Lakeside Boulevard reconstruction. Reserves of $2,053,000 will also be used to complete the total capital program. Those are my comments, Your Worship.
Thank you very much. Any questions to our director? Perfect. So for council's information, we have to pass 2 separate motions. We have to take out the fire, and our municipal clerk can help me out, the fire portion of the budget. If we can take that portion out, that'll allow me to vote in the first half, and then I'll declare conflict as I'm an employee of Wheatland EMS who dispatches fire. Need to declare a pecuniary interest of that.
Your Worship, you would be taking out fire and disaster services.
Fire and disaster services. Thank you. Any questions on to our director? Take a motion.
I move that council approve the 2015 operating capital budget with the exception of the fire and disaster services portion.
Thank you. To the director, are we stuck on board the $3 million if something else comes in that we all of a sudden get more grants or whatever? We're not stuck to actually borrowing the $3 million. Is that correct?
We can amend the budget if we were by chance to receive additional grant funding. We would put that grant funding in place instead of borrowing.
Thank you. Councillor Fuel.
Yes, Your Worship. I just wanted to clarify on behalf of council too. I just want to make sure this is clear to the public. We did decide to pay out the 2 outstanding loans and use surplus to do that. We also felt it was important enough to take on the 2 major road projects so that we would actually borrow money at a lower rate than previously. So I just wanted to clarify the reasoning for that in case anybody had wondering or was wondering what we were doing. Yeah, and we are, yeah, I think that's the other point that Councillor Peterson just mentioned. We have been and are behind schedule as far as road construction and infrastructure. So we felt that this was the time to start attacking it.
Further, if I can comment, we would be paying out those loans in December, but not borrowing till mid-year. And we would be saving the interest on that dollar amount for a period of 6 to 7 months.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any further questions? Councillor Peterson?
I just have a comment, Your Worship. When I was talking to some previous councillors and in general terms, and they were talking about how what a good job the town has done, particularly our Director of Financial Services, our Director of Corporate Services, in terms of bringing down the amount that we've borrowed over the last years, and how even through a really difficult time when they were building and when there was extraordinary building going on in the community and they were over 60% of allotment, and how this council, not the council that I'm sitting on, but the previous council, and with the help of very good management by our town staff and fiscal management of the council, that has come down considerably. And it was food for thought for me, and I was very appreciative. Thank you.
Councillor Silva.
Well, we're on just comments, and thank you for that, Councillor Peterson. The other comment I think that's important to note is that we don't just get this information to pass on tonight's council night. We've been working on this for hours and hours, but nowhere near as many hours as our administration has been working. They've been working on it for weeks and weeks to get down to this level. It is a tight budget. We're happy that we've kept it down to 3.5%. Never like to see taxes go up, but there are just increased charges and amounts that we have to deal with. So I just want to say thank you to the staff and to our Director of Financial Corporate Services for all the effort that they've done and for bringing forth a budget that we can live with. Thank you.
Perfect. And I too would like to extend my sincere appreciation to you and your staff as well, Mel and Dwight. I know you guys put a lot of time in, and I do appreciate that as well. Go ahead, Councillor Peterson.
One last thing I think that bears talking about at this time is that the Director of Corporate Services worked with this council, not just with the 2015 budget, but looking at the future, and are looking at purchasing software that will allow us to do much longer term planning in the best interest of our citizens, so that people will be able to plan in their personal lives, and we will be able to plan in the context of our larger community. And that's something I'm also very appreciative of. And I think we're following in the footsteps of other communities who are looking at doing this too. And it's been very well received by their citizens, that people actually know what they're facing well into the future. So thank you.
Dr. Stanford.
Maybe Mel could bring us up to date on that. They've been working on the last few days, right in this room. And
We've had 2 meetings with the vendor that we are looking at, and we've got some background information, and they're going to be sending us some more information on it.
Great.
We plan on using it going into the next budgeting cycle.
Terrific.
Thank you.
Nothing further. Call the question. All those in favor? Motion is carried. Now I would turn the floor over to Councillor Bloker.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Mull. I'd ask administration to record that the Deputy Mayor left at 8:12.
And I would move that the council approve the 2015 operating and capital budget as it pertains to fire and disaster services.
Any discussion? Ask for the question. All in favor? Thank you.
We should note for the record, Councilor Blockman, that our taxes seem to be lower than the community surrounding us. And I'm grateful to corporate services for helping us come to that place.
Good point. Deputy Mayor Wald has returned to the meeting at 8:14.
Thank you very much, Council. Moving on to 8.3, Audit Committee Appointments. Ms. Clerk.
Your Worship, earlier this year, Council adopted a new terms of reference for the Audit Committee. In that terms of reference, we have 2 spots available for public members. We have 2 names that have come forward to sit on the committee. Ms. Burkholder already does sit on the Audit Committee, but we also have Mr. Brand Beekman, who is interested in sitting on the committee. Administration is recommending the appointments of the 2 members.
Entertain a motion? Please. Thanks, Councillor Steele, for making that motion.
Well, actually, Your Worship, I had a question.
Okay, I'll go ahead. Go ahead.
I'm just wondering if I could ask a question through the chair to administration. Is there any chance of conflict of interest with one of the recommendations coming forward for the Financial Audit Committee? I'm speaking in terms of the relationship of the person who might be on the audit committee and the youth center and the business that, I don't know if you know what I'm talking about.
Give
I
us
hope you
one
do.
sec. We're going to recommend that only one be appointed tonight.
Perfect. So the motion will now be,
I would move that Ms. Tracy Burkholder to the Financial Audit Committee for a 1-year term ending October 31st, 2014.
go ahead, Mr.
Your
Clerk.
Worship, I'm sorry, there's a typo in the recommendation. It should be October 31st, 2015.
Sorry.
Any further discussion on the motion? Hearing none, call the question. Oh, sorry. Sorry. Go ahead,
Just to make
Councilor.
this legal, I believe Councilor Peterson has to make that amendment. Just,
Yes, and so I amend it to
Thank you.
2015.
yeah.
Okay, thank you. All right. On the motion that's amended to 2015 and appointing Ms. Burkholder, any further comments or questions? Call the question. All those in favor? Opposed?
Sorry, Worship, I was just a little confused there. I'm in favor.
Okay, thank you. On to new business, continuing under new business, 8.4, the Bow River Basin Council. Municipal Clerk.
Your Worship, a letter from the Bow River Basin Council has been received by administration. The letter requests that council consider supporting the BRBC financially. The BRBC relies upon financial support of its members and customarily requests a voluntary contribution. Some municipal partners in the basin determine their support on a per capita basis. As a part of the Cooperative Stormwater Management Initiative, the BRBC has supported the initiative by applying for the RBC Blue Water Grant for grant funding towards the water balance study in the CSMI catchment area. This application was successful and the CSMI received $85,000 through the BRBC's application coordination. In the past, Council has received a similar letter from the BRBC requesting financial support, but the town has never contributed to them. Administration is bringing this matter forward for Council's consideration.
Thank you very much. Discussions. I guess my question to administration would be, we are current members of the Bow River Basin Council? Where we are current
Yes,
members?
and Jesse goes to some of the meetings and all. One of the things that Jesse mentioned to me, even though we've never paid any before, it'd be nice if we gave a little bit of a token or something, because they do a lot of good.
Councillor Blockman.
Thank you, Your Worship, through the chair to Dwight. What size of amount of token are we talking about?
what does everybody else do?
That's 15 to 70.
Go ahead, Ms.
Your
Pocard.
worship, in the letter from the BRBC to council, it says that a typical range per capita that is donate or given to the BRBC is 15 to 70 cents per capita. Just an amount.
Councillor Blanc.
Thank you, Worship. Do we have is that one of our committees still? Do we have a member sitting on that? We don't have a committee anymore?
Councillor Peterson.
The only thing that I know is that I rely heavily on Jesse Parker's information from his work with this council, which I think has been extensive and for me, really, really helpful in understanding all kinds of things. And I don't know, like 20,000 is kind of a hit that we didn't budget for, right? That's what it would be, right? If it was
Not at 15.
15,
2,600.
sorry, 2,600. Yeah, never mind, 2,000, yeah. So that'd be worth it, well worth it.
Dr. Stanford.
If we did 15 cents,
Oh, it's 15 cents.
15 cents per capita would be $1,852.80.
Let's entertain a motion.
I move that council provide financial support to the Bow River Basin Council in the amount of 15 cents per capita. And that the
Discussion.
funds be taken from financial stabilization.
Questions on the motion? Hearing none, call the question. All those in favor? The motion is carried.
Worship, I'm wondering if I could make a motion to go in camera for just a few minutes and then go back into regular session on a matter dealing with land, labor, or legal.
Motion to go in camera moved by Councillor Fuel. All those in favor?
Motion is carried. Want to go into the conference room?
Yeah, this saving money and heat is gone too far. I'm fat and I'm never cold, but I'm really cold.
You're cold? Yes.
Your worship, I'd move that we come
Thank
out
you.
of camera.
Perfect. So Councillor Field has moved that we come out of in camera. Call the question. All those in favor? Motion is carried. Perfect. Councillor Field, did you want to discuss?
Yes, Your Worship, I'd like to go back to item number 8.3, the Audit Committee appointments, and I would like to make a motion to appoint Mr. Brand Beekman to the Financial Audit Committee for a one-year term ending October 31st, 2015. And I apologize for the confusion.
Council has heard the question. Is there any, heard the motion? Is there any questions on the motion? Hearing none, call the question. All those in favor? Motion is carried. On to committee and departmental reports. Councillor Sobel.
Thank you, Your Worship. My report for November of this year is as follows. For Strathmore, Alberta 55 plus Summer Games, a directors meeting was held on November 24th. I was in attendance. Updates by all directors were received, and discussions were held into what additional legacy item should be supported should there be monies left over after the games are completed. And certainly that's our goal. It was also noted that the games office would be closed between December 23rd and January 5th. In regards to Strathmore Wheatland Addictions Team, SWAT, a regular meeting was held on November 6th, and I was in attendance. In addition to the regular items, a discussion was had in regards to whether a kids and drugs presentation should be made in the upcoming year, and as well whether SWAT should be become more involved in social media, i.e. Facebook, Twitter, etc. Decisions on these matters will be made at upcoming meetings. For Calgary Regional Partnership Transportation Committee, there was no transportation meeting held in November. Downtown Revitalization Committee, this committee met on November 25th, and I was in attendance. And we received presentations from 4 different groups, including one, the Newsy Neighbor magazine, who were looking for support from this committee for a downtown festival. More and more people are starting to realize the value of making our downtown the center of our community, and there's a great deal of optimism that we are on the right track to make our downtown a more vibrant place. And lastly, there was no council policy review committee held in November. And that's all my committee reports for this for November, Your Worship.
Thank you, Councillor Sobel. Councillor Field.
Oh, thank you, Your Worship. First of all, I wanted to apologize. I did submit the the student Strathmore Assembly Youth meeting minutes to, I think I emailed them to you, Jen, but I didn't bring them with me. But I thought I sent the template to you. Anyway, if not, I can report on that later. The youth club, we have totally been focusing on ticket sales for the New Year's Gala. So I would like to take this time to invite any and all people who are interested to come to the New Year's Gala. It will be a great deal of fun and a chance to win a lot of prizes for you, as well as supporting the youth club. Wheatland Housing met on a Monday, and I was not able to attend the Monday meeting. And we have a Christmas dinner at the Seniors Lodge on December 11th. That's it, Your Worship.
Thank you very much, Councillor Field. Councillor Blow.
Thank you, Your Worship. Mine will be pretty short. I apologize, but I lost my handy bus meeting minutes on my phone, and I can't find them. I also lost the Wademza minutes on my phone, but I believe Denise has them. Thank you. Attended a Chamber of Commerce meeting today at noon. There's a meeting set for December 15th with Pascal, who happens to be our landlord over at the Chamber office. We have to go over our business and strategic plan moving forward as to whether the Chamber is actually going to move forward or what it's going to do, and or leasing the office space. Other than that, the Chamber of Commerce open house is set for December 19th from 2 o'clock till 4 o'clock, and everybody is welcome.
Thank you, Councillor. Back to Councillor Field.
Thank you, Your Worship. I now have the Strathmore Assembly of Youth Committee report. Thanks to Jen. I attended the November 12th SAY meeting where we discussed the following items: the definition of censure and how it applies to Strathmore's current situation. Mayor Ell and I were both there to explain what was going on and expressed our hopes to be able to move forward as a council. We discussed the upcoming by-election and why it's occurring. Kids asked who could run the day of the vote and what things they would look for in a candidate. The SAY group also discussed the various parks and green spaces in town and the fact that some of them don't have any names, as well as wanting to know the criteria for naming things like parks. So they would actually like to invite someone from the Names Advisory Committee to come to one of their SAY meetings to talk about that. And then they discussed the disc golf proposal that came before council and their views on how the meeting went. We reviewed the map of the 18 holes and the locations, and we discussed the cost to sponsor each hole, signs, and a list of potential sponsors. And that's it, Your Worship.
Thank you very much, Councillor Thiel. Councillor Peterson.
Thank you, Your Worship. Councillor Blockland and I attended the WADEMSA November meeting, and there were actually two meetings. The organizational meeting was held, and the chair is Glenn Kester, vice chair is Darcy Burke. Councillor Blockland is sitting on the Personnel Committee along with some other members. This is a year for bargaining contract. And Young, Parkin, and McNabb will be retained again for the purposes of the yearly audit. In the regular meeting, there is a projection of $90,000 to $120,000 a year to be realized from the new 911 fees associated with cell phone calls. So that was good news. And call volume to date is 2,958. It's almost an 8% increase, which Rob Mitty talked about as being very significant. And said he wasn't sure why that was happening. It just was. They have a new ambulance and radio system almost ready to go. In fact, it probably is up and running now. On November 19th of 2014, WADEMSA met with AHS regarding the contract, and the talks went very smoothly. No outstanding issues were noted, and there is an extensive Ebola plan in place at this time. New provincial rates are being standardized across the province. Excuse me for a second. New provincial rates are being standardized across the province, excepting those covered by existing Alberta healthcare rates. The trips will be $385 to the hospital and $250 for attending without a trip to the hospital. Fire dispatch requisition, which has a big impact on our community for 2014, is $2 per capita, which was what was announced at the beginning of the year. And there's, we're uncertain about how that's going to look in the coming year. Strathmore Municipal Library had a meeting, and I won't go through all of it. You have the minutes in front of you. But they are holding a silent auction December 1st to 12th, and there are many beautiful gifts, so I would encourage everyone to feel free to pop by and put a bid in. The Municipal Library is also conducting a member satisfaction survey, and members can participate on site or online. And the library is very, very close to achieving charitable status. One of the members has worked very diligently in doing that and fulfilling that great need. And the library now has a Windows 8 laptop that adult patrons may sign out within the library for up to 2 hours, and it has been an incredibly popular purchase. In Marigold, had their general meeting, and changes in assets and total equity, there were significant. And it is because Marigold no longer capitalizes the book collections. So that's why you see that huge change, but they do remain in a really strong financial position. And on their website, their financials are there. All the Marigold member municipalities supported the Schedule C, and the draft Marigold budget from 2015 to 2017 were accepted for information at the general meeting. Marigold continues to advocate for funding based on current population. They believe there is significant deficit because the population in the Marigold area increased by 13%, and the province is still paying on 2010 dollars. One of the most exciting things in Marigold is that their MEL borrowing process is now in place. So I really encourage people to go online either to our municipal library or to the Marigold site, and it's very, very easy now to, with your track card, with your membership card, to borrow from any library in Alberta. It's a wonderful thing. At the SRAC meeting, Brandy Hebbs and Wanda Reinhold are now sharing the chair, and SRAC is seeking to continue opportunities to be a conduit for increased opportunities in community-based art programming. So I think that will be the focus in the future. So looking to develop programs in open spaces throughout the community and continue to build toward increased access to cultural product and process within the community. Thank you, Your Worship.
Thank you, Councillor. Mayor L is not here, so we'll expect his reports are forthcoming. With respect to myself, the Financial Audit Committee is scheduled to meet coming up, I believe it's next week or the week after, on the 9th, so we'll be having a meeting there. Wheatland Housing, I was unable to attend the meeting as they moved it to a Monday night. And the Egg Society, they have an upcoming AGM. So, Dr. Stanford, Economic Development, please.
Couple of things I wanted to mention before economic development. Sure. On the news today, I heard twice that a Calgary Regional Partnership are arranging some kind of bus or transit service, and it's going to go to Okotoks, High River, Turner Valley, Black Diamond, and Nan, which is really exciting because we want to get the same thing coming this way. So that's why it's very important that we participate.
Are they stopping in High River?
Not, that's undetermined at this point.
Because they're not in there.
That's undetermined at this point. And that is a pilot project. Thank you for bringing that up. That's a pilot project, and that's one that we are going to be following very, very closely. They've done a lot of work in order to get that project up and running, and the idea, of course, is to use the successes of that and bring it east to our community, and that'll happen in the future.
It will happen.
It will happen if I have anything to do with it.
I was surprised going all the way to Nan.
That's very good news.
Anything further, Dr. Stanford?
Yes, on economic development, our big commercial event just now is PV Mart. Theirs is 3.8 million, and they're going to be just on the east side of Calgary Quad. Quite a few single-family homes. Ovation Homes do by far the most, which is sort of neat because they haven't been in town very long. But already in the last little bit here, they've done 12 homes. And building permits so far this year are 15 million over last year.
That's 5 million since your last report.
Pardon me?
Isn't that 5 million since your last report? Increase?
Okay, right now we're at just over 35 million for this year. And there'll probably be, well, I know there's some on Kathy's desk, so there'll be more yet.
Councillor Sobel?
Thank you. I'm not trying to steal your thunder, but I think it's important to note in regards to economic development that we have a long-awaited building next to the High Ho that's finally started doing some excavation. So pretty excited about that.
Just a little more comments on that. Beautiful facility, 4 stories high. The main floor is for medical type of thing. And then the 3 floors above are for residential. They're beautiful units. They're going to be, the smallest is just over 1,000 square feet, and they go up to 1,250 square feet. So they're really big, nice units. There'll be 9 units on each of the 3 levels.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Entertain a motion to approve or to accept the council committee reports and economic development reports as presented.
So move.
Thank you, Councillor Sobel. Motion on the floor. Call the question. All those in favor? Motion is carried. Questions between councillors and our administration. Councillor Blokeland.
Thank you, Your Worship. I have a question for the CAO. Actually, I have 2. How many, does Kinsman Lake get stocked every year?
As far as I know, it is every year. We don't do it, but Fish and Wildlife have been very involved.
Well, they do. Any idea how many fish go in there?
I can't answer
I
that.
don't think they do it every year.
Pardon me?
Do they do it every year?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I know there's a lot of fish in there. They stock with trout.
And downtown rumor mill going as it is, apparently they're scraping dirt at the school site in Hillview. Is there a school going up right away, or?
What, a school in Hillview?
They're scraping dirt over there apparently.
Up in Hillview, there's been some coring and testing done, but that's about as far as I know.
I just got asked if they're going ahead with school.
It's not finalized.
Any further questions? No council invitations?
Uh,
Oh, I'm so sorry, Councilor.
Actually, there is,
There is a council
Your
invitation.
Worship, on behalf of council and administration, I'd like to extend an invitation to all our constituents to attend an open house, a Christmas open house here at the council chambers on Friday, December the 12th, from 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. It's kind of a stop in and shake everybody's hand and eat some food and enjoy a couple of hours if you wish. So I just wanted to make sure that was put out, that everyone's invited to that. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. Any further council invitations? Entertain a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Okay, council was moved. All's in favor? Motion's carried. Adjourned at 8:42.